Hi, Uprisers. It is Trisha LaCroix with Sacred Uprising. This is a platform for your life and your spirit transformation, a one-stop oasis for your continued expansion from beginners to masters to beginners again. And today I am going to have Erin Bruce, and she is going to be talking about the staircase to hope. So very excited about this. Erin, this is the first time that she will be on Sacred Uprising, and I can't wait to share her with you. Hold on, she is asking to join. But we do have some announcements to go through. So let's do that right quick. Kaya Leslie, you have won this beautiful 4-inch quartz crystal. This was Kaya won this because she subscribed to Sacred Uprising on YouTube, and it was given away to one of the subscribers over the last week and a half. I've been trying to reach out to her. If I don't hear from her by Friday, we'll go ahead and give this to somebody else. But in the meantime, hopefully Kaya Leslie will reach out to me so we can go ahead and give that to her, get that shipped out. We have some exciting here. I'm still trying to add Erin, so just hold on one second, everybody. Approve. Okay, so Erin, I'm trying to get you on. There you are. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, you're sideways.
Oh,
there we go.
Gosh.
So let me get into some of my announcements before we talk to Erin. Tomorrow we start our videos once again. We have some series going on. Christy, our astrologer, will be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. and she will be talking about aligning to your life path. So don't miss that. That's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will also be doing my series Calling in the One, and that'll be at 2:30. We've changed it by 30 minutes tomorrow afternoon. Now we do have a newbie. It is our poet. Her name is Savannah. It's actually Erin's daughter, and Savannah is going to be starting her series at 1 o'clock called The Celebration of Pain. So don't miss out on those. We'll be doing some advertising for them. And don't miss out for, we have, Christy is doing a giveaway tomorrow. So there's going to be a secret word or something. If you're watching live and you hear what the contest is, somebody is going to win a free 1-hour reading, astrology reading with Christy. So don't miss out on that. We also have, I'm going to be also doing a giveaway, a 30-minute coaching session based on my, hey, Erin, based on my Calling in the One. So don't miss out. We want to give those away, but you got to be watching live to be able to win those. So that being said, I want to introduce Erin. Right now, I'm just sharing this onto Sacred Uprising. So Erin and I actually went to the same Bible college. Yes, I said yes. Bible college. I went for the MRS degree. It didn't work out, but that's what I went for. We went to the same Bible college. We didn't know each other. I've seen pictures of her and her husband since then, and I'm like, oh my God, I saw them walking around campus. I know who they are. So what ended up happening, I started a group for victims of religious abuse based in that religion, and that religion was Fundamental Independent Baptist. And Erin and I ended up connecting because of that. And I was taken with the way that she would articulate things. I was taken by everything has an energy or a vibration, by her vibration. I also saw that she had a rich childhood and a rich experience within the Baptist religion. However, there was healing to do. So I saw how her path, how she moved within her path, and I have found that now the anointing that is on her and her family, the peace that is incorporated in this beautiful vessel of Erin is something that I wanted to share with everybody. And when she said she wanted to speak about the steps to hope, I thought who better to do that than Erin with the journey that you've had. I think that you are a great example because you can teach it because you've lived it. So why don't you start just talking to us a little bit about where you came from to bring you into this transformation of hope.
Okay. First of all, hi everybody. Thank you so much for having me on. Isn't Trisha amazing? Every time I talk to Trisha, I feel just excited, and I feel like I just feel an excitement after I'm on the phone with her. So you're such a bright person. I love it.
No, thank you. Right back at you. That's why we're aligned, right?
Oh, yes, I love that. So I I was thinking about, did I ever not have hope in my life until I kind of crashed? And there was just one other time when I felt hopeless about something, and I'm a songwriter, so I had this kind of time of writing songs, and that was in my 20s. And but really after that, I didn't have a reason to not have hope. I felt very strongly about hope, and I was fine. I was happy. Everything was good. And at about age, I'm 47 now, so I think at about 37, I just kind of had this river of desire come up in me, like a desperation and almost an obsession to trim away the things in my life that were not what I actually believed. Anything that I was doing, living out, empowering, that was someone else's idea that I didn't actually agree with and that I didn't actually see good results from.
Right.
And I started asking myself the question, like, does this work? Does this actually bring joy to our lives? What's the actual end result of it? Instead of just kind of doing what someone said is the right steps, And
more
so
like ritual rather than heart-centered, right?
Yeah, more following a list of do's and don'ts, I guess, to the success status of whatever. And so I just kind of got on this quest, and it really, at the time, I knew that I was taking on the challenge of I was going to disappoint people. I was going to lose some connections with people, because when you go on a quest like that, it takes a lot of courage, and a lot of people don't understand it. They don't know what to do with it. They're afraid of it, and they're hurt too, because you're doing something different than you've ever done with them before. And so I'm just going to press my little. So anyways, I knew I was taking a challenge on, and it probably was about, I started losing a lot of connections with people, lifetime connections, and it probably was like 3 years in, where I was just kind of pushing it. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be fine. I can make it, even though I'm losing some friends that are in disagreement with my new quest. And I just kind of crashed. So I kind of look back at that time as a wheel with the different spokes in it in my life. And basically everything but spirituality crashed. My body crashed, everything crashed. And at that point, I couldn't maintain my life anymore. I couldn't just push through. It was over. My spirituality said, this isn't over. And my body said, but I'm done. I can't work for you anymore. So I really went into a crash in my life. And my husband really kind of became, I was like the hope enforcer, hope police in my life, in my house. And all of a sudden, it was gone.
Right.
So over a long process, probably I would say like a 2.5 year process, even my spirituality by the end of that crashed. And so all the spokes in my wheel were not working. They were like in park. It was like everything was saying, yeah, but it's not working. So what are you going to do about that? Because we can't carry you anymore. And so then I went into a dark place for about a year and 9 months. And in that dark place, I'm kind of excited that I went through that, because I had to rebuild all the spokes in a real way that I believed in. So there was a year and 9 months where I did not have hope. It was dark. I was disconnected from everyone. I was angry. I reacted in ways that weren't good for everybody. It was just messy and embarrassing and all of the things that you never want to be, basically. And right. So my family and my husband, they didn't know what to do with me. Like, I was always the hope police. And now I was the skeptic for the first time ever. And so at the end of that, what really is like sort of my catalyst in my steps back to true hope, or my new sense, my rebirth really, was I was standing in our kitchen in this new life, you know, didn't have our house anymore, didn't have our jobs anymore, totally rebuilding our life with no plan. And my son looked at me and he said, Mom, what am I going to tell my friend? Like, can you pray with me about my friend? He's desperate. He needs something. He was telling me the story. And I had this war within me of, he's coming to me because that's who I am. He knows he can come to me for that. But I don't have any hope to share. I have no source to glean from. I had nothing to say. If I say it, I'm faking it. And in that moment is the first time that I could remember in my life that I didn't have hope, or I couldn't see it, but I had to decide to borrow his hope in his eyes. And, you know, he hadn't been through what I had been through, the disappointment. He didn't really understand the years I was experiencing of disappointment. But the innocent hope that he had in that moment, I feel like I reached into his eyes and said, okay, I'm going to do it. Kind of like a fake it till you make it, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I took it. And in my mind, in that moment, I said, I'm going to start saying yes to any opportunities of hope and goodness and light, even if I don't believe in it. Even if I am mad at the world and disappointed in everybody, I am going to start saying yes. If someone says, hey, here's a good thing, I'm going to say, okay, yes. I don't know what it's going to look like. I felt like I was in kindergarten. I'm going to start saying yes. I'm going to put away all of my disappointments because I decided in that moment, not believing and not having hope is too sad. And it's better to believe in something and even get disappointed at the end than to not believe, because it's just a brighter space to live in. And that's all I knew.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I think it's so beautiful what you said. You decided to borrow his hope. And what's so beautiful about that, Christopher Lee is watching. Hey, Christopher, you know that I'm going to bring this up. He and I had a conversation last night about that is actually something you can do with the universe. If you don't have a consciousness, like a hope consciousness or a relationship consciousness or whatever it may be, you can borrow it, take it on from somebody else. And that's something he's going to come on my video tomorrow and talk about.
Wow.
So that's interesting. And the other thing is, I had a conversation with a friend today. She started talking about that today to me. And she needs me to help her. She needs to get my energy to do a spiritual thing. And she said it's called convergence, Trisha. And she started talking about the same thing. She goes, I need to borrow from you so I can do this. And I said, okay. And I said, so I'm going to ready myself for this. So what you're talking about has popped up in my life twice in the last 24 hours.
Wow.
And it is really something that can be done. So what you're going to talk about today is a principle that can transform people's lives on many different levels, on many different vibrations. Yeah. So I love that you're talking about it. And I do feel that it's anointed because this has come into my life that's being an upriser. That's right, Christopher. Being an upriser. So, so I'm excited. So please continue.
Okay. So I was actually talking to my husband about this, kind of walking through and getting the details kind of structured out. And he said, I was like, I always wanted to empower hope. And he said, you were the hope police. And I really felt like, no, we have to think positive. We have to, this is going to work. That's how I always was, almost just like obsessively. Now I feel like the other end of that, like the rebirth of hope, sort of having to re-believe, I feel more like a hope lender than an enforcer. Because that does mean, like what you just said, you can borrow mine, and that can actually get you to dream again. You can borrow mine. So I love borrowing hope, and it's You Can Borrow Mine is a song by Bebo Norman that I didn't understand until I needed to borrow hope. I listened to that song. I thought it was beautiful, but I didn't understand it. So it's called You Can Borrow Mine, and just kind of a simple acoustic song. And I think it's maybe even like a love song to a man to a woman, but because I think I sang it at a wedding or something. But when I listen to it now, I think, oh, that's what he's talking about.
That's what it's about, right?
Oh, so good.
Right.
So in that moment, Trish and I were talking about yesterday, which one comes first? And it may be interchangeable, but my two first steps, I feel like, that brought me life again were borrowing hope and being in a posture of yes. So I think sometimes they can be interchangeable, but in that moment, I remember walking down the hall and saying to my family, who had been really traumatized by my lack of hope for a year and a half, did not know what to do with me. And I remember walking down the hall saying to everybody, okay, everybody come in here, I have to tell you something. And I sat them all down, and we're all in a circle, and I sat down on the ground and I just cried and apologized for losing my hope. And it was so hard for them. And so I said, from now on, going forward, I'm going to say yes to any opportunities for love, light, goodness, hope. I'm just going to say yes, even if I have been disappointed in that area before. And I'm going to, instead of having a brick wall to people and to my experience, I want a fence. That's going to be my goal. I want a fence, not a wall. Some things do have to change, but I don't want to be hard. I want to be soft. I want to be easier. I want to be lighter, more flexible. I don't want to have my stake in the ground. It doesn't feel good.
Right.
And that was really my very basic kind of kindergarten understanding at the time was, this doesn't feel good, and I want to feel good. I want to have joy. And so anyway, I sat down there and I went through a whole kind of ceremony with them, apologizing for the darkness that they couldn't understand that I was living in. And it felt so good to say it out loud and to release it. And I felt in that moment that I was reborn. I didn't know how it was going to do it, and I knew I was going to get disappointed again, but I was just going to start saying yes. And so opportunities started coming up right away. And I mean, something as simple as this, Trisha, it's silly, but this is like the real things of life, right? I would never answer my phone for a year and a half. I didn't talk to anybody in my life. I cut everybody out because I was just in such a dark place. And I said, because the kids would say, so-and-so's calling you, you should answer. And I just had like this inability to be loved, really. And I said, when the phone rings, I'm going to answer it. If someone reaches out, I'm going to respond. I'm going to receive it again. And that was huge for me. They knew what that meant for me. So I began a slow process that was not easy. I did not have abundance right away, but I would say in about 6 months, I had chosen, I can look back to 18 to 20 times when I made a conscious yes decision when the opportunity was given to me. And I didn't feel anything yet. I still felt numb spiritually. I still felt wounded relationally, super disappointed in my life about a loss of something that I had built. And, but I just thought, maybe if I keep saying yes, maybe I'll feel, maybe I'll see something will click. Maybe it will. And I knew it had to, but I didn't know what that would look like, but I was just all I knew was my strategy was yes. So 6 months later, I would say things started literally just falling into our laps, and my life, our whole life just completely changed. And I'm a singer, and for that year and a half, I couldn't sing. When I'd open my mouth to sing, nothing would come out. I couldn't sound good. Like I would, when you're a singer, you can kind of make yourself sound a certain way or whatever.
Right.
I couldn't do it. It was gone. And all of a sudden my voice came back, and it just it's like the spokes in my wheel just started slowly reforming in a different way. And I just felt softer. I felt less judgmental of people disappointing me and disagreeing with me. I felt less wounded by it. And I just thought, I just want to reconnect to the things that I actually want to be connected with, even if even if they don't have my same perspective. I don't want to end everything and kill everything because I got hurt. And I think that that's just a stage we go through where we want to do that. But the conscious decision to re-engage it takes just a lot of courage. So
it does. I was in your position back in 2010, and I cut off communication from everybody. I had to go. We heal in the darkness, in the quiet moments, right? And so when we're in that darkness, and it was really freaking dark, you decided to take the posture to say yes. At the point, I had let go of the rope and said no. I just let go. And so, but I started going through healing, but I couldn't pick up the phone. I couldn't answer the phone. It was very hard for me to even have conversations with my family because I could not. I was. The seed has to burst open and grow through the dirt to see the light. And I was deep in that dirt, right? As you were as well. So I understand that feeling of hopelessness, that you don't see anything but the darkness. But the thing is that when we can grab onto a little bit of hope, and like you did, I like how you did it. You started saying yes, even though you didn't feel like it. Yep. When you started doing that, I mean, hope is a beautiful, wonderful, natural antidepressant. It's the best one there is. So when you have hope, it gives you strength to make that next baby step. Maybe not to walk down the block, but you can do that next baby step. Yep. And you see the phone ring and go, I don't want to talk to anybody, but okay, I said I would say yes. And then you do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And people like me who are not in that darkness anymore, it's a good reminder from where I came, and to have compassion for those people who are going through it.
Yes. Yes. It truly, people don't know what to do with you in that time. I'd say 99.9% of people do not know what to do with you. You're too scary. You're too much. It's too heavy. They don't know what to do with it. And that was a really wonderful realization, I think, for me, eventually, that I was able to absorb and embrace and agree with. Like, people didn't know what to do with me in that space. And that's okay, because it's more important to me to have some of those people in my life because I want them in my life. So it was just kind of like I keep thinking of the word kindergarten. It didn't feel super, I don't know, like I didn't go through some huge thought process to really get there. It just felt like, I want this. I'm going to stop overanalyzing. I want this. I'm going to take baby steps. I'm going to have boundaries and watch myself, but I want love in my life. I don't want to be in darkness anymore. So I tried to write some things down because I don't want to forget some of these things. Oh, I love the visual of, I keep getting, when I think of the space between the valley that you're in and being to the top of the mountain and having a perspective that's wider and bigger and just full of possibilities that you can't see when you're in that dark space of disappointment. And how do you get up those stairs to the top of that mountain? I visualize like a door at the top of that mountain that has a door frame on it. It's not locked. Once you get there, it's just kind of more of an idea of opening the door than an actual need for the door to be there. And when you get there, you open the door, and there it is. All of the hope and dreams and clarity and vision that is actually possible for you is up there. You can see it. You can choose it. But how do you get from there to there? So I truly feel like in that dark moment of borrowing hope and saying yes over a process of 6 months and bumps in the road, because there were disappointments after that for sure. But I was able to bounce back quicker than I ever had been in my life. I was able to be less hurt by things, because it's like I developed a new muscle of, it's more important to me to be happy and at peace than to be right and to be seen as, for someone else to see my story the same way as I'm seeing it.
Right.
It just doesn't
Right.
bring me joy. And there's really no need. There's nothing I actually need as far as that. It's okay if they don't see the story the same. That's a big one for me, to be able to say that it doesn't matter if they see the same story. Because we're talking about deep pain and loss. But to be able to actually truly say, I would rather have love in my life and have reconnected than for people to say, I know everything and I agree with everything that you're saying, is just, it feels powerful to me. It feels like the strongest thing I ever did.
Well, based on the way that, I know you, okay, how do I say this? Based on the way that I was raised, I had to be a mirror for whoever was in front of me, any leader, any, the church and the religion that you and I were raised in. I had my secret life where I was the rebel, but I never was able to portray that because there was severe consequences there. I would be ousted, I would be forsaken, I would be abandoned. I had to be that chameleon. But now, I left that church and all of that in 89. I've gone through all these many years. It's taken me so many years to heal. And when I got to the point where I truly didn't care, but it wasn't not caring being the rebel, saying, flipping them off with my middle fingers, saying, I don't care, I'm going to do what I want. No, when it comes to, it was more of I hear what you're saying, but this is my life.
Right.
And just moving on, not arguing, not trying to throw anything in anybody's face, but I truly don't care. I love that person.
Right.
But I don't care. I love myself more. That's the thing. I care that maybe we're not agreeing on this, or I may care that, their opinion, that I really want them to accept me. But you know what? I love myself more. So I'm going to still stand in my truth regardless. That was big. That was a big moment, from going from being a mirror to being the rebel, then going, I'm the queen.
Yeah. I feel like
this is my life.
Yeah, and that rebel time it's kind of like the anger that makes you survive.
Right. Oh, and yes, absolutely.
It's not fun, and people don't like it, and I feel sad for the people that had to experience that from me, because people don't know what to do with it. But I do know that I had to do it.
Right. Yes.
It was the thing that made me be able to release everything that was weighing me down. Right. If I hadn't gotten that mad, that angry, I'd still be maintaining things that were dysfunctional. Right. So it was kind of like the fire that burned it all off. And then I could go back and be like, it became, my next quest really became, after hope, my next quest became peace. And I'm kind of on this quest now. I was kind of determining this with my friend the other day, owning my identity and my purpose. So I feel like it was hope, peace, and then owning. And I'm still kind of trying to tweak what that is. But the peace thing after hope was only enabled by releasing all that other stuff and walking away from it all, because I realized that had never really been a quest of mine, to actually experience peace inside. I didn't know that my body was telling me, I don't like this, I'm giving you a red flag. I didn't even know that was happening. So being able to understand that about myself was so enlightening and so exciting, that I had red flags in me telling me yes or no, that I could actually be on a quest for peace, and I could get there.
Right.
And I got there, and it's just so exciting. I wake up every day thinking, I am aligned with peace, and at all costs, I'm going to stay aligned with peace. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful feeling. So
you find out it's a better friend than what any friend that would ask you to shift from peace.
Yes.
Anyone that would ask you or demand from you to shift from your inner peace, that's not somebody you want to be aligned with.
Yes. No. Yeah, you're so right. Sometimes I think it's someone that you can have a little bit of a boundary with, and I'm not going to do this and that with them, but I'll do this.
Right.
Because I can keep my peace. And then you and I were saying the other day, sometimes it's just an automatic, no way Does
Yeah,
that?
no way cut off, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
The visual I just keep having is that staircase up that mountain to where I said yesterday when I was kind of going through this, I was like, it's like imagination babies that you get to
Mhm.
have when you get to the top of the mountain. You get to all of a sudden have this plethora of the smorgasbord of hope and dreams.
Right.
But
Yeah.
how do you get there? You borrow the hope of someone that is looking you in the eyes and saying, I've been there, I did it, you can borrow mine, and then just saying yes to that. So I kind of,
I love that. I love that. That is like surrender. That's complete surrender. And I
yeah,
feel like, having this platform for God to speak through us, that is our stance. That's our posture saying, I understand. We're here for you. Borrow mine. And I love
yes.
that. That is love. That is
Mm,
radical grace that pursues you.
yes. Yes. And I was thinking, what if someone doesn't have, like, what if someone is thinking, well, I'm not going to have that moment where my son is looking at me, lending me his hope or asking for mine. So if in the case you don't have someone that you can borrow it from, I feel like tonight is that moment for you. This is the moment my identity that I want to live out is to be a hope lender. And so in this moment, I am telling you that you can borrow mine because I was in the dark and lost everything. And now I'm in the light. So I know that it's possible and I know what is at the top. So I just want to say officially you can borrow mine, whoever needs to. I'm just saying it's there.
It's a rarity that I'm brought to tears during the videos, but I think that is so beautiful. And I offer that to my friends. I offer that to, she is good medicine, Christopher. Absolutely.
Oh, he's sweet.
To my friends, but to people that are watching, this platform is to change lives. It's to transform. It's to give people hope. And if you don't have hope, you can have some of mine because I got a lot and I want to give it away. And that's what this is for. It's surrender and it is free for all.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
and it's
beautiful.
a thing. It's not a circumstance. It's not a success that you have to achieve. It's not something working out. It's a thing that's like spiritually tangible. And when you take it, it starts multiplying. And
it does.
It starts multiplying when you say yes.
Yes.
And you have to keep saying, it's not going to happen. Yeah, you're not going to see it right away. But in your head, you keep saying yes, and then you can kind of feel this brewing, like something's coming. I don't know what, but I feel like yes is the right direction.
And it's interesting because the universe does not understand the word no. So when you have something that you say, I don't, if you say, if you think I don't want financial stress, it's going to hear I want financial stress. If you say, it's like what you worry about is what you're praying to receive. That's the promise of it, right? So when we have that posture of yes, you're actually telling the universe, who is working on your behalf for you, you're saying yes to everything good. So keep saying yes. Keep saying yes. Don't focus and worry about the things you can't change. Let that go. Otherwise, you're inviting it. You're praying for it. You're begging it to come into your life. Focus on what you love. That's why scripturally it says, think on these things. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are of good report. It doesn't say, think about the things you don't want and ask God not to bring it. It says, think of these good things. Think of those things. Because the universe, source, all that is, the infinite, the divine, understands Yes, understands
Yeah.
that you want everything good and virtuous and lovely in your life. It wants to give that, but be in the posture of yes.
Yes. Yes, I love that, and I love that we really create. We create with our words. So if
We
I'm
do.
angry, and I'm going to create more of that, but I'm going to have to talk about it in a good and healthy way to be able to get out of it. But you know, when you're angry, it's messy and
It's
it's
messy.
yucky.
Yeah.
You can't think about that. But when you do decide to borrow hope and get in that posture of yes, it is, you start creating the red carpet for yourself, the red
Mm,
carpet of getting to the top and
right.
having vision again. People have said to me, Erin, I can't think about all those good things. There's too many. I lost my hope a long time ago. Like, kind of almost like I'm talking pie in the sky, you know? And I just think, as long as someone keeps saying those words, they can't birth hope. They can't take that next step. So that's why I think it's just so important to to accept the challenge of someone's hope, receiving it, saying yes, and then just blindly follow to the top and trust that when you get there, you're going to see something you don't know about yet. You know?
Bliss, who is one of our, she's one of our teachers. She teaches the conscious evolver, and it's something that she talks about, but in other terminology. So Bliss, thank you for watching. I wanted to mention we had, and it's funny that you, again, here we go. I was telling a friend, everybody's syncing up, you know, with what we're talking about. But we had an energy healer on today. Her name is Terry. And I would really encourage everybody to watch that video, everybody, because she talks about what you're talking about. She talks about where the etheric body is. It's right above our skin. Then the emotional body is about 18 inches above our skin. And that's where all of our emotion rise. And then 3 feet above the body, we have the mental body, or I think it's called the mental body. And that's where all of our thoughts and words are. And then we have our aura. So the thing is that you, in your mental body, dependent on how you talk to yourself, your inner voice, the words that you speak, that's what is like a magnet drawing back to you from the universe. That's where we get, you know, with our emotional and mental body, that's where we get health issues and sicknesses and things that go wrong. I believe that even attracts things into our homes as well. So when you clear that out, all those words out, like on Facebook, you can do, there's a thing on Facebook, and it's what words you use the most in 2017. And you can see, like, mine is always love, and it's always all these beautiful things. But if you do that in your personal life and go, what are the words that I'm truly, how I'm talking to myself, I'm thinking about people in my life. If it's untruths, if it's negative, those are the things that you're going to be attracting in your life. If you're focused on where you're not abundant, you're going to receive that in return. I got to tell you, I was telling my daughter, when I moved to Texas, I left Chicago and went to Texas. I had nothing, didn't have a car. I lost my children. Everything was a disaster. My ex had taken my children, kidnapped them. I had nothing. I remember I was even putting pennies together to buy a hot dog, and I was administrative assistant at the time. I just had nothing at the time. But I knew instinctively, although I was not spiritual at the time, I instinctively knew I needed to be grateful, and I needed to not focus on what I didn't have. So my hope was, I looked at the sun, which in Chicago in the winter you never see. And in Texas, I would stare at the sun and be grateful. I would see the leaves on the trees in the wintertime and be grateful. The pansies in the pots when you go up into the stores and be grateful. I was grateful. I learned to be grateful about things that were free. Grateful for, I won a $150 gift certificate to Steinmart. How did that happen? You know, I was grateful for the small things. When I went and got my nails done at Christmas, although my family never did anything for me for Christmas, they gave me a Christmas card with a candy cane. I was like thrilled. So I started learning to appreciate those small things. And you know what? Those small things are what become the big things. It started changing my reality. And I started thinking different and drawing in what I deserved. And that's just some of the simple shifts that we need to make. It's in our thoughts. Change when I really started jumping into my spiritual journey, I wanted to change the way I spoke because I felt I was being too negative. And by changing, I would stop in mid-sentence at times because I didn't want to hear the negativity coming out of my mouth. I would stop.
Yeah.
And it started changing the way I was thinking. And that started changing what was coming into my life. It's real. It's a real thing. And everybody can do that.
Yeah. Yes. And those places are sacred.
You want hope? Then create it in your life with your words and your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Agree. You know, I was just kind of, I was thinking as you were saying about the pansies and stuff, about those moments and those things like that flower, those places where you made that conscious decision, they become sacred, holy places in your life. I can go back to the places now where I remember I felt God as my, you know, source of love really say, you know, forgive, and thinking, I can't. And then I remember, actually, I mean, I was kind of crazy during that time, but I don't regret it, but I was a little crazy. But I remember kneeling down where I was and saying, I don't know how, and I can't feel it, but I'm going to say it like 15 times. I'm just going to say the words. I forgive her, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. I just kept saying it, and I just started making a practice of saying that, so that when other thoughts and words wanted to come out, I had practiced so many times saying, I forgive, that I almost felt like I was betraying my progress. Ooh, and so I remember that place where I did that, and the other sacred places in that city on my like sabbatical, and I drive by still, because thank the Lord, it's only 45 minutes away. I can drive by those places and think, holy ground, and I can go stand on them, and I can sing, and I can lift my hands up and say, like, I lost my life here, and I found it here, and I can still see it. Like, what a beautiful opportunity that I have. I can go and see the holy ground whenever I want to.
The place you were born.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, betraying my process. They gave me goosebumps too, Bliss. That's beautiful. Betraying my process. You know, and that can go in so many different ways in life. How is the way that you're treating your children or treating your friends? How is that betraying your process?
Right.
How you are honoring your commitments. Right. If you're not honoring them, how is that betraying your process? There's so many ways that can really transcend into our life and change us by remembering everybody is an altar. Every commitment we make is an altar. Every word out of our mouth. What are we placing on people's altars? Are you betraying your process?
Yes.
And my process is love. I want on my tombstone that I was proof of his love. That's what I want. So how I'm living my life, am I doing things to betray that process?
Right. Yeah.
And that gives you clarity of vision. I got to tell you, I have more clarity right now than I did when I got on this call.
Oh, that's all I want. That's all. That's my number one priority, passion. So that makes me so happy.
That's beautiful.
I love the mountaintop of once you open that door and you see, it's almost like the possibilities there. I remember walking one time and I felt like God said, and I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Which thing am I supposed to do? And I felt like God said, in whatever of the millions of ways you choose to go, I just want to be with you. And in that moment, I felt like, oh, there isn't a thing I have to follow in a religious way. There's not a thing that if I don't do this, everything bad's going to happen. It was more like, when I get to the top of that mountain, I see that which one of these amazing, beautiful things that God made available to me to create do I want to create? Take your pick. you know?
Yeah.
So I
It's
love.
that, they said that to me too. They said the
Mm,
same exact thing to me too,
wow.
that it was my choice.
Yes. Wow. Well, that's cool confirmation. I love that.
Yeah, there's not just one pathway to receive what it is that we want to receive.
No.
There are many different pathways, and they're all divine. My guides tell me all the time, every path is the path to the divine. So honor everyone's path.
Mm.
And so there's so many ways to get there, whatever resonates with you. So the question I would challenge people is, what is your path?
Right.
What is that? What is it that you want to obtain, or you want to call in, like calling in the one? Is it hope? Yours was hope. Is it love? Is it, I mean, what is it? Now, how are you going to get there? And is it so important to you that you won't betray your process?
Right. Yeah. That war, those moments of this past, this one or that one. That's what it all comes down to. When you just said that, I thought, oh, the co-creation of whatever dream we want to walk out. I envision and I see God as my big brother protector, excited when I'm excited. And I feel like in those moments, I feel like that big brother is saying, oh, that's what you're going to do? What a great idea to combine those of the options I've created for you. I don't feel like he's like, oh, not that. I feel like there's just this beautiful excitement, just like I have when my daughter learns a new aerial trick or paints something. I don't want her to just paint what I traced. I want to see what she creates. It's so fun for me. Yeah. So I just feel like God is excited when you actually acknowledge how many options there are that have been created for us. And
you know, it's interesting because that's the posture of yes too. God will provide you the paints and the brushes.
Right.
If you posture yourself to say yes,
right.
And then he'll go to town, paint away, make a masterpiece, and I'll sit here and I'm going to love everything that you do with it.
Exactly.
Just be in the posture to say yes, so the universe can give you what you need to do.
Yeah. Give you your options and you get to pick. And then you almost have to be like filtering good things out because there's so many good things.
Yes. You know? Yes. I'm living that right now.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I don't know how much more I can take in.
I know. I love that.
That's so great. So let me ask you this. So why don't you share with us what it is how you work with people? You had talked about meditation. So can you talk about that and how people can get a hold of you to use you as a coach?
Okay. Well, they can message me on Facebook. Is that easy enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. And she's tagged in here, people. So go ahead. You can do that.
Yeah. My quest to align with peace, which was kind of last year, I really took up, really just kind of learned how meditation worked. And that's the thing that brought me to the quest of aligning with peace. And so, I love to take people into basically a visual of themselves walking towards the goal that they have, and maybe helping them paint a picture of where they are. So that's what I love. I love walking out a vision and bringing them to a place of releasing. And that's what meditation is for me. With someone, it's a guided surrender, and then hearing, kind of exchanging what is strangling you for a gift from God that is maybe one of your steps towards hope, your steps up the mountain. I feel like we always come to the end with an exchange of what they're surrendering and accepting as a gift from God. And in that moment, when I come out of that moment or that meditation, is how I started experiencing such a difference between before the meditation and after, realizing that I could physically go from a place of anxiety to peace in 20, 40 minutes, and that was a real tangible thing. That was
Right.
one of the most exciting discoveries in my life. So I would love to help anybody do that.
That's great. I'm so if anybody is interested in working with her as your coach for one of these meditations, please contact her. You can message her on Facebook. Erin, thank you so much. I just loved having this one-on-one. It felt like just a conversation between two girlfriends. I love that. I love that.
It was
So
fun.
I wanted to leave everybody with just this one thought. And once again, we'll be back doing this tomorrow. But it's a quote that I heard, and I wanted to read it to you. The ultimate level of inspiration is to show others what's possible through your own actions. And I want that my teachers, our teachers that are here on this platform, it's one of the reasons why I ask them to be part of this family, is because they live what they teach. And I'm very proud of my family, and I'm grateful for this family at Sacred Uprising. And I want our inspiration to be that we can show you what is possible based on our actions. So with that,
well, I'm so honored, super honored to be part of that.
I'm so grateful that you are. All right, everybody. Well, good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Erin, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.